The unexpected challenge. The vastness of space stretched out before the eye's curiosity, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Captain Elora Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays that surrounded her. The ship had been their home for the past 3 years as they ventured further into uncharted space than any human expedition before them. Status report, Elora called out, her voice calm, but tinged with the ever-present edge of alertness that came with deep space exploration. Chief Engineer Rajesh Patel's fingers danced across his console as he responded. All systems nominal, Captain. We're maintaining our course through the Zeta Quadrant. Elora nodded, allowing herself a small smile. The mission had been a resounding success so far, with the crew of 50 scientists and explorers making breakthrough discoveries almost daily. They had mapped countless new star systems, studied exotic cosmic phenomena, and even found tantalizing hints of microbial life on distant moons. As she was about to order a routine sensor sweep, a violent shudder ran through the ship. Alarms blared, and the bridge was bathed in pulsing red emergency lights. Report, Elora barked, gripping her command chair as the ship bucked and heaved. Rajesh's hands flew over his controls, his brow furrowed in concentration. Massive power surge in the main reactor, Captain. It's causing cascading failures across all systems. The ship lurched again, and sparks erupted from a nearby console. Elora's mind raced through possible solutions, years of training kicking in automatically. Initiate emergency shutdown procedures, she ordered. Divert all non-essential power to life support and navigation. The crew worked frantically, their movements precise despite the chaos around them. Slowly, the violent shaking subsided, but the emergency lights continued to pulse ominously. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the mission's lead xenobiologist, spoke up from her station. Captain, I'm detecting an unknown energy field surrounding the ship. It seems to be interfering with our systems. Elora's eyes narrowed. They had encountered strange phenomena before, but nothing like this. Can you identify its source? Yuki shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. Negative, Captain. It doesn't match anything in our databases. As the initial crisis passed, the true gravity of their situation began to sink in. The ship's main power was offline, leaving them adrift in an unknown region of space. Worse, their long-range communications array had been fried in the surge, cutting them off from Earth and any potential help. Elora took a deep breath, centering herself before addressing her crew. All right, people, we've trained for this. Rajesh, I want a full damage assessment. Yuki, keep analyzing that energy field. The rest of you, begin emergency repair procedures. We're not giving up. Over the next several hours, the crew of the Curiosity worked tirelessly. They repaired what they could, jury-rigged solutions for systems beyond immediate repair, and took stock of their supplies. It wasn't good, but it wasn't hopeless either. As Elora pored over the latest reports in her ready room, her first officer, Commander Diego Reyes, entered. The normally jovial man looked haggard, but there was a glint of determination in his eyes. What's the verdict, Diego? Elora asked, gesturing for him to sit. He sank into the chair with a sigh. It's not pretty, Captain. Main power is still offline, and Rajesh says the reactor sustained heavy damage. We're running on auxiliary power, but that won't last forever. Life support is stable for now, but without main power, we can't maintain our shields or weapon systems. Elora nodded grimly. And our location? Diego's expression tightened. That's the really strange part. According to our last confirmed coordinates and our current star charts, we shouldn't be here. Explain, Elora said, leaning forward. The constellations don't match anything we've mapped. It's as if we've been transported to an entirely different region of space. And that energy field Yuki detected, it's still there, surrounding us like a bubble. We're trapped. Elora stood, moving to the window that looked out into the star-filled void. The familiar constellations she had come to know over the past 3 years were indeed gone, replaced by an alien sky. Options, she asked, her mind already racing through possibilities. Diego spread his hands. We can't call for help. We don't know where we are. And we're running out of power. But, he added, a note of pride entering his voice, we've got the best damn crew in the fleet. If anyone can figure this out, it's us. Elara turned back to her first officer, a smile tugging at the corners of her mouth despite the dire situation. You're right about that. Humanity didn't come this far into space by giving up when things got tough. She tapped her com badge. All senior staff, report to the conference room in 10 minutes. It's time we came up with a plan. As the crew assembled, Elara looked at each of their faces. Despite the fear and uncertainty, she saw determination, curiosity, and the unbreakable human spirit that had driven them to the stars in the first place. All right, people, she began, her voice steady and confident. We're in uncharted territory, both literally and figuratively. But we're explorers. This is what we signed up for. Now, let's put our heads together and find a way out of this mess. As ideas began to flow, Elara felt a surge of pride. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that the ingenuity and resilience of her crew would see them through. The human adventure among the stars was far from over. In fact, it seemed their greatest challenge, and perhaps their greatest discovery, was just beginning. Alien encounters. The conference room of the ICE Curiosity buzzed with activity as the senior staff debated their next move. Holograms flickered above the table, displaying damage reports, power consumption projections, and the mysterious energy field that held them captive. If we reroute power from the auxiliary life support systems on decks 3 through 5, we might be able to get the long-range sensors back online, Rajesh suggested, his fingers dancing across a datapad. Dr. Yuki Tanaka shook her head. Too risky. We don't know how long we'll be stuck here. We can't afford to compromise life support. Captain Elara Chen listened intently, weighing each option. Just as she was about to speak, a loud alarm blared through the ship's comm system. Unidentified object approaching. The tactical officer's voice rang out. It just appeared on our short-range sensors. The senior staff rushed to the bridge, all thoughts of their previous discussion forgotten. On the main view screen, a sleek, silvery vessel unlike anything they had ever seen before glided towards them. Its surface seemed to ripple and shift, as if it wasn't entirely solid. Are they charging weapons? Elara demanded, sliding into her command chair. The tactical officer, Lieutenant Zara Okoi, shook her head. Negative, Captain. I'm not detecting any weapon signatures, but our sensors are having trouble getting a clear read on their ship. Elara's mind raced. First contact with an alien species was always a delicate situation, and their current predicament made things even more precarious. Open a channel, she ordered. All frequencies. As Zero worked to establish communication, the alien ship drew closer. It was now close enough that they could see it clearly through the bridge's viewport. The vessel was about half the size of the Curiosity, but something about it seemed far more advanced. Suddenly, the view screen flickered to life. The bridge crew collectively gasped as they found themselves face to face with their first extraterrestrial intelligence. The alien was humanoid in basic shape, but that's where the similarities ended. Its skin was a pale, iridescent blue that seemed to shimmer. 4 large, almond-shaped eyes blinked at them, and instead of a mouth, it had what appeared to be fine, tentacle-like appendages that quivered as it observed them. For a moment, there was silence on both sides. Then, to everyone's surprise, the alien spoke in perfect English. Greetings, travelers, it said, its voice melodious and gender-neutral. We are the Zarquin. We detected your vessel's distress and came to offer assistance. Elara stood, straightening her uniform. I am Captain Elara Chen of the interstellar science ship Curiosity. We represent Earth and the United Human Confederation. We thank you for your offer of help. The Zarquin's eyes blinked in an odd pattern. Earth, United Human Confederation. We are not familiar with these designations. You are far from your home, Captain Chen. A chill ran down Elara's spine. Just how far had they been thrown? We've encountered some navigational difficulties, Hilara explained carefully. Perhaps you could tell us where we are. The alien's tentacle mouth wriggled in what might have been amusement. You are in the Nexus, Captain. Place where realities converge. It is rare for beings to stumble upon it accidentally. The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. Alternate realities. It sounded like something out of their science fiction holo novels. Before Ilara could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Rajesh's voice came over the panic evident in his tone. Captain, the reactor is destabilizing again. We're losing containment. The Zarquin's demeanor changed instantly. Your vessel is in grave danger, not only to yourselves but to the fabric of the Nexus itself. We must act quickly. Ilara felt the weight of command pressing down on her. The lives of her crew, the safety of her ship, and now apparently the stability of wherever they had ended up all hung in the balance. What do you propose? She asked the alien, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. We can tow your vessel to our station, the Zarquin replied. There, we can safely power down your reactor and assess the damage. But you must decide quickly. Ilara looked to her senior staff. Diego nodded grimly. They had no choice. We accept your offer, Ilara said. Please, help us. What followed was a flurry of activity. The Zarquin vessel extended what looked like tendrils of pure energy, enveloping the Curiosity in a cocoon of shimmering light. The humans felt a strange sensation, as if they were being gently pulled through water. Minutes later, they found themselves docked at a massive space station that seemed to be made of the same shifting, silvery material as the Zarquin ship. As soon as they were secure, teams of aliens boarded the Curiosity, moving with swift efficiency to stabilize the reactor. Ilara and her senior staff were escorted to what appeared to be a command center on the station. The room was alive with holographic displays and consoles that responded to the slightest gesture from the Zarquin operators. His Zarquin, who seemed to be in charge, approached them. Welcome to Nexus Station Alpha, it said. I am Coordinator Xylex. Your vessel is safe for now, but I'm afraid the damage is extensive. Ilara felt a mixture of relief and apprehension. Thank you for your help, Coordinator. We are in your debt. But I must ask, what exactly is this Nexus you spoke of? Xylex gestured, and a large holographic display sprang to life in the center of the room. It showed a complex web of interconnected lines and nodes. The Nexus is a unique phenomenon. Xylex explained. It exists between realities, connecting various timelines and dimensions. We, the Zarquin, are its custodians. We monitor the boundaries between realities and ensure that inadvertent crossings do not lead to catastrophic consequences. The humans listened in awe as Xylex continued. Your arrival here was unprecedented. Somehow, your vessel created a temporary rift that pulled you into the Nexus. Had we not intervened, the energies involved could have torn apart the fabric of multiple realities. The implications were staggering. Ilara and her crew had not only made first contact with an alien species, but had stumbled upon a linchpin of the multiverse itself. Can you send us back? Diego asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Xylex's eye pattern shifted in what they were beginning to recognize as an expression of concern. It is not that simple. The rift you created has already closed. To return you to your exact point of origin would require precise calculations and an enormous amount of energy. Energy we cannot spare without risking the stability of the Nexus itself. The words hit the human crew like a physical blow. They were stranded, possibly forever, in a place beyond their wildest imaginations. Ilara steadied herself, then addressed Xylex with all the diplomacy she could muster. We understand the difficult position our arrival has put you in, Coordinator. We are explorers, scientists. Perhaps there is a way we can work together to find a solution that benefits us all. Xylex seemed to consider this for a moment. Your offer is appreciated, Captain Chen. However, you must understand our position. Your very presence here is a violation of the natural order we strive to maintain. Moreover, your technology, while impressive for your level of development, is dangerously unstable in this environment. The implied dismissal of humanity's capabilities stung, but Ilara pressed on. With all due respect, Coordinator, we may surprise you. Humanity has faced seemingly insurmountable challenges before and prevailed. Give us a chance to prove our worth. The other senior staff members nodded in agreement. A united front in the face of this cosmic challenge. Xylex conferred briefly with other Zarquin in their melodious language before turning back to the humans. Very well. We will allow you to stay temporarily while we assess the situation further. But understand this. If we determine that your presence poses too great a risk to the Nexus, we will have no choice but to take more permanent measures to ensure its safety. The threat, though veiled, was clear. The humans were on probation, and the stakes couldn't be higher. We understand, Ilara replied, her voice firm, and we thank you for this opportunity. We won't let you down. As the Zarquin led them to quarters prepared for their stay, Ilara gathered her senior staff close. All right, people, she said in a low voice. We're in uncharted territory here, in more ways than one, but this is what we trained for. We're going to show these Zarquin exactly what humanity is capable of. Rajesh, I want you working with their engineers. Learn everything you can about their technology. Yuki, see if you can get access to their biological databases. Diego, you're with me. We need to learn everything we can about this Nexus and the Zarquin society. As her crew nodded in agreement, determination etched on their faces, Ilara felt a surge of pride. They had crossed the gulf between stars only to find themselves in a place beyond imagination. But the spirit of human exploration, the drive to understand and overcome, burned as brightly as ever. Remember, she added, we're not just representing ourselves here. We're representing all of humanity. Let's show the multiverse what we're made of. As they dispersed to their assigned tasks, none of them could shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something monumental. The next few days would determine not just their fate, but potentially the fate of their entire reality. The greatest challenge in human history had begun, and failure was not an option. Proving human worth. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity for the crew of the Curiosity. Every waking moment was spent learning, adapting, and pushing the boundaries of their understanding. Rajesh Patel found himself in awe of the Zarquin engineering. Their technology seemed to blur the line between science and magic. Yet, as he worked alongside them, he began to notice something peculiar. While their technology was incredibly advanced, the Zarquin themselves seemed to lack the intuitive problem-solving skills that humans took for granted. One day, as Rajesh was helping to repair a power conduit, he suggested a workaround that hadn't occurred to the Zarquin engineers. The aliens stared at him in what he could only interpret as surprise. How did you conceive of this solution? One of them asked. It was not in any of our established protocols. Rajesh shrugged. I just thought about the problem differently. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. The concept of thinking outside the box required significant explanation, but it sparked a series of discussions that left both humans and Zarquin with new perspectives. Meanwhile, Dr. Yuki Tanaka was making her own breakthroughs in the biological sciences. The Zarquin physiology was fascinatingly complex, adapted to life in the Nexus, but it was Yuki's knowledge of Earth's diverse ecosystems that truly captured the aliens' interest. Your planet harbors such variety, a Zarquin biologist marveled, and you say life exists even in the harshest environments. Yuki nodded enthusiastically. From the deepest oceans to the driest deserts, life finds a way. It adapts, evolves, survives. The concept of such resilient and varied life forms was novel to the Zarquin, who had evolved in the relatively stable environment of the Nexus. On the diplomatic front, Captain Chen and Commander Reyes were making progress of their own. They shared stories of human history, our triumphs and failures, our art and culture. The Zarquin were particularly intrigued by human emotions and the way they drove innovation and progress. You mean to say that many of your greatest achievements came from individuals who were told their ideas were impossible? Coordinator Xilex asked, its eye pattern expressing what Ilara had come to recognize as deep thought. Exactly, Ilara replied. Human history is full of people who refused to accept limitations, who pushed boundaries and achieved the impossible. As the days passed, the atmosphere on Nexus Station Alpha began to shift. The initial wariness the Zarquin had shown towards the humans gave way to curiosity and, gradually, respect. The humans' adaptability, creativity, and determination were unlike anything they had encountered before. But just as things seemed to be improving, alarms blared throughout the station. The humans rushed to the command center, where they found the Zarquin in a state of agitation. A critical failure in the Nexus stability field, Xilex explained hurriedly. If we cannot restore it, the consequences would be catastrophic. As the Zarquin worked feverishly at their consoles, Ilara exchanged glances with her crew. This was their chance to prove their worth once and for all. Let us help, she said to Xilex. Together, we might see solutions that elude us individually. After a moment's hesitation, Xilex nodded. Very well. We have no other choice. Collaborative breakthrough. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Humans and Zarquin worked side by side, combining their knowledge and skills in ways neither species had anticipated. Regish's out-of-the-box thinking led to a novel approach to rerouting power to the failing stability field. Yuki's understanding of resilient Earth ecosystems inspired a biomimetic solution to reinforce the field's structure. Diego's tactical experience helped coordinate the efforts of multiple teams across the station. But it was Ilara who made the crucial breakthrough. Drawing on her knowledge of stellar phenomena, she proposed using the gravitational forces of nearby space-time distortions to create a self-sustaining feedback loop in the stability field. It's risky, she admitted, but if we calibrate it correctly, it could not only repair the field, but make it stronger than ever. The Zarquin were hesitant, but with time running out, they agreed to try. What followed was an intricate dance of technology and intuition, with humans and aliens working in perfect synchronization. As Rajesh initiated the power transfer, Yuki monitored the biological components, and Diego coordinated the station's movements. Ilara and Xilex worked together to fine-tune the gravitational interactions. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed as if their efforts would be in vain. The stability field fluctuated wildly, and sections of the station began to phase in and out of reality. But then, gradually, the field stabilized. The alarms fell silent, and a soft, pulsing glow enveloped the station. It's working, Xilex said, its voice filled with awe. The stability field is not only repaired but operating at 150% efficiency. You've done the impossible. The humans and Zarquin alike erupted in cheers and celebrations. In that moment, the last barriers between the two species fell away. They were no longer strangers from different realities, but comrades who had faced cosmic peril together and emerged victorious. Part 5. A New Galactic Order. In the days that followed, the relationship between the humans and the Zarquin underwent a profound transformation. The aliens now looked to their human guests not as potential threats, but as valuable allies. Coordinator Xilex called a special assembly, attended by both species. In light of recent events, it announced, "We have decided to offer the humans a proposition. We invite you to stay in the Nexus, not as stranded travelers, but as partners in our mission to maintain the stability of the multiverse." The offer was met with stunned silence from the human crew, followed by excited murmurs. Illara stepped forward, her eyes shining with emotion. "We are deeply honored by your offer," she said, "but our hearts still long for our home, for Earth. Is there truly no way for us to return?" Zilex's eye pattern shifted in what the humans now recognize as a smile. "Captain Chen, thanks to your innovations, we believe we can now safely create a stable portal to your reality. You and your crew may return home if you wish, but know that you will always have a place here in the Nexus, and that this encounter marks the beginning of a new era of cooperation between our peoples." The implications were staggering. Humanity would not only return home, but would do so with knowledge that would revolutionize their understanding of the universe. And they would have allies in a realm beyond their wildest dreams. As preparations were made for the Curiosity's return journey, Illara reflected on their incredible adventure. They had set out to explore the unknown reaches of space, but they had discovered something far greater: the infinite possibilities of the multiverse and the power of cooperation across the boundaries of reality itself. The crew of the Curiosity gathered on the bridge, watching as the Zarquin opened a swirling portal that would take them home. As they prepared to depart, Xilex approached Illara one last time. "You have taught us much, Captain Chen," it said, "about resilience, creativity, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. We look forward to the day when your species takes its place among the guardians of the multiverse." Illara smiled, feeling the weight of this historic moment. "And we have learned from you as well, Coordinator Xilex, about the vastness of existence and the importance of balance. This is not an end, but a beginning." With a final farewell, the Curiosity entered the portal. As the familiar stars of their home reality came into view, the crew knew that nothing would ever be the same. They were returning not just as explorers, but as ambassadors of a new cosmic order. As Earth appeared on their view screen, Illara turned to her crew, her eyes bright with the promise of the future. "Well, everyone," she said, "shall we tell them what we found out there?" And so, humanity's greatest adventure began anew, with the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe, or beyond it. The endless journey continued, not just across the stars, but across realities, proving once and for all that there truly was no final frontier for human determination and ingenuity.